Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Jay has the night off. A big decision tonight that will impact the future of Colstrip people and the power created there. Tonight, we've learned a settlement has been reached in Washington state that lays out a proposed timeline for potentially closing all 4 coal-fired power units in Colstrip and sets aside money for the community to recover. Now, that decision delivered today ensures a minimum of $10 million for the town of Colstrip for the impact to the community. Now, this plan from staff members of the Washington Utility and Transportation Commission must still be voted on later this month. The agreement spells out with more clarity the timetable for the shutdown of all 4 units. The 2 oldest units, 1 and 2, will be shut down by mid-year 2022. Units 3 and 4 will be paid off in 2027 and can then be shut down. The power from Colstrip accounts for 30% of the energy delivered to Washington residents, but an air pollution lawsuit filed in the state led to the decision to shut down the coal plants. Q2's David J. has been gathering reaction to this decision just released in the last hour. David.
Well, Jeanelle, the agreement sets aside money for decommissioning and remediation of the land, and that amounts to about $95 million for units 1 and 2. The settlement also allocates $300 million in tax credits for all 4 units, and Puget Sound Energy set aside $10 million to fund community development in Colstrip and to work on a transition plan for the closure of the plant. And some in Montana see this as a good plan.
Progress. I see a really big step forward and a company stepping up and being responsible for both the contamination that it caused, but also to the community. And they're giving the community $10 million to deal with that transition. And they want to participate in the planning process to help come up with a path forward with the community.
Meanwhile, Attorney General Tim Fox says the proposed agreement serves the public interest because it does not purport to release or waive any of PSC's liabilities for decommissioning and remediation in the state of Montana. We also spoke with Colstrip Mayor John Williams. He has not seen the proposal, but he did say that the state legislature tried to pass a bill, and he said that would have done a little bit more for them by holding some accountability there of Puget Sound Energy and addressing the economics of the shutdowns of 1 and 2. And also the decision is part of a rate case agreement with the state of Washington and Puget Sound Energy. Jeanelle?
All right, thanks so much, David. Q2 meteorologist Ed McIntosh is in for Bob McGuire tonight. And Ed, you've been the hero of the day.
I should have worn my Superman tie.
Yes, you should have.
Yeah, let's take a look. We had chief photographer Paul Humphrey out trying to catch some shots of the rain today, and that was the steady thing that we watched throughout the day. Rain, in fact, some pretty good totals coming in, but we're going to get more up-to-date totals. I do want to share a little bit of information from what happened up at the airport. If you just take a look at how much fell up through midnight last night, it was almost a ½ an inch of rainfall, and compared to August and July, that was 1.5 times the rain we saw for those 2 months together. As of 4 o'clock this afternoon, Billings had picked up over an inch of rainfall, shattering the old record. That gives us about 1.5 inches of rain, the biggest rain we've seen since we had those thunderstorms back in June. More on the weather coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Ed. With all that rain also comes snow, and you'll want to listen close because it could impact your weekend travel plans. Take a look. Here's some video shot at 10 a.m. on McDonald Pass, which sits at an elevation of 6,300 feet on the west side of Helena. Rogers Pass, east of Lincoln, which is about 1,000 feet lower in elevation, is also receiving significant snow. And closer to home, the Beartooth Pass is closed on the Wyoming side due to snow, ice, drifting, and blowing. The Montana side of the pass is closed at Vista Point up to the state line. One of the suspects in a 2016 robbery of Lucky Lil's Casino in Billings changes his pleas today. 20-year-old Caleb Tull changed his pleas to 10 felony charges and 1 misdemeanor in Yellowstone County District Court. Tull pleaded guilty to 2 drug charges and no contest to 6 counts of robbery and 1 count of assault with a weapon. Prosecutors say Tull and 2 accomplices robbed the Lucky Lil's Casino on King Avenue in November. Witnesses say the suspects pointed guns at patrons and employees and demanded cash. By pleading no contest, Tull does not admit to the robberies, but recognizes there's enough evidence to convict him. Prosecutors will recommend a sentence of 8 years in prison for the robbery charges and 3 years for the drugs. Sentencing is set for November. 4 Billings women hit rock bottom as they lost the battle with their drug addiction. But today, they celebrate recovery and moving forward. A graduation ceremony took place at the Center for Children and Families this afternoon. The 4 mothers received certificates for successfully completing a 2-year addiction treatment program. This day is a moment of sheer happiness for these moms who were faced with losing their children at the height of their addictions. The program, which started 5 years ago, addresses addiction by including the woman's family and children. The women reminded today the journey is not over, but now these ladies had the skills to overcome.
I was very broken, and that pain really encouraged me it motivated me to focus on healing and finding recovery and finding a new life for me and my kids.
Today I saw 4 women who are strong, independent, have all the skills they need to be successful in life. They have a renewed sense of hope, a stronger connection with their kids and their family members, and they are ready to conquer the world.
A total of 12 other women have graduated this program. The program has operated through a federal and regional partnership grant, but will soon transition to a state-approved chemical dependency center. Well, no arrests yet as the FBI and Flathead County authorities work to figure out who sent a series of threats that shut down schools across the region for the 2nd day in a row. Authorities are working round the clock to identify the person or people behind the cyber threats. Flathead County Sheriff Chuck Curry says the detectives are doing interviews with persons of interest and are following every avenue presented. Specifics of these threats are not being revealed. Montana law enforcement and the FBI are conducting profiling and using computer forensics to aid in this investigation.
We're in the days now of cybercrime, and it's a whole different set of rules when it comes to investigation. Following IP addresses, following people who sometimes are very good at concealing their digital signature, their digital location.
As you've heard, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. As investigators work to solve these latest cybercrimes, law enforcement has also dealt with people spreading bad information. MTN's Augusta McDonald has more on how you can fact-check your information before hysteria spreads.
Besides just spreading inaccuracies, people who forward or report this false or exaggerated information to the police waste their time.
We've had several things that have been blown out of proportion on social media, and right now it's really being a major detriment to our investigation with the school situation.
They say people should not become part of the hysteria by forwarding these false threats or calling 911 unless it's something they personally observe. We reached out to a journalism professor to find out how people can avoid being a part of the problem.
I think you see something, that puts people in danger. Oftentimes you feel compelled to be like, I'm going to shout help. I'm going to say look out. And when you do that on social media, that can get echoed and amplified by people who have no idea what's going on.
A lot of people go online when there are threats to public safety, like extreme weather events, and it can be difficult to wade through all of the information that's being posted. If you see something of concern online, be sure to check your facts before sharing. Law enforcement agencies will keep you informed of threats to public safety. They often use social media accounts to do so. Reporting in Missoula, I'm Augusta McDonald for MTN News.
Thanks, Augusta. Now, today's sports and other activities were also canceled for the weekend due to those threats. Well, rain or shine, hundreds of runners from across the country will gather in Billings this weekend for the 21st annual Montana Marathon. The race features a full and half marathon and a 10K. Now, this race is a Boston Marathon qualifier, which is drawing competitors from as far away as Hawaii. The marathon course begins in Molt and ends at Dallas Stadium, so do be prepared for heavy foot traffic if you are driving in that area Sunday morning. Bib and packet pickup ends at 6 tonight, but late participants can get their packets tomorrow evening from 5 to 8 p.m. at Best Western Clock Tower Plaza. And heads up, make sure to wave to Q2's Asia Gore, who is also taking part this weekend. Up next on your Q2 530 News, a Billings hospital making the national grade for new cancer treatment options. We'll show you. And in sports, seniors football guys are already underway against CMR. Scott shows us if the Broncs are on their way to 4-0.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire and sports with Scott Green. This is the 530 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.